Hey everyone, Jason Katzenbach here with Amazing.com. And in today's interview, I have our very special guest, Dr. Travis Ziegler. Travis, thank you very much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Jason.
Always a pleasure, always a pleasure. So Travis started a few years ago selling physical products on Amazon, but before that, he was a full-time optometrist who actually was running 2 clinics with his wife when they just decided that this wasn't the life they wanted. They wanted a change. They started selling on Amazon. They became students of ASM, our Amazing Sewing Machine program. And since then, just for a few short years ago, they've now been able to generate multiple $1-million years over and over again. And the best part of this is they're using all that they're gaining from that business to give back. They have mission trips that they do yearly where their focus, their goal is to save people from dry eyes. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But the really cool thing that you're going to want to be watching this video for is one of the things that Travis really attributes to the success of their business is really mastering Amazon's sponsored ads platform. This is Amazon's internal platform where you can advertise all across Amazon. It's very powerful, but sadly, a lot of people overcomplicate it and just use it wrong. And what Travis is going to show you in today's video is a simple technique, but very powerful for being able to just use the data Amazon gives you and a Google spreadsheet or Excel spreadsheet, whatever you want to use, and to be able to dig out and find those keywords that are killing it for you. And I mean killing it in a good way. These are the keywords that are actually making you money. They're the keywords that you want to use to optimize your listing and really use in other advertising campaigns possibly as well too, because you've proven them through paid advertising that these are the keywords the users on Amazon are typing in to find the product that you're selling. So again, Travis, thanks for being here. And before we get started, maybe just give a brief little history of your journey from an optometrist to a full-time business owner with selling on Amazon.
Yeah, sure. So I became a doctor in 2010. I'm an optometrist, which is an eye doctor. My wife graduated in 2011. We practiced for 4 years with my uncle in Columbus, Ohio, and then we moved across the country to South Carolina and started our own 2 clinics. And when you start a clinic, it's kind of boring at first because you're only seeing about 1 patient per hour and it's a little slower. ASM came across my email inbox in May of 2015, and I didn't think my wife would go for it, but she did. And we ended up becoming an ASM4 member in May of 2015, made our first sale in July of 2015. And it's been great since then. We came to a crossroads in about 2017 where we had to get rid of one of the 3 businesses. And so we chose to sell one of our practices. 6 months later, we sold the other practice and we stopped practicing completely and went all in on this business. And we haven't looked back since.
Awesome. And now if you could just share a little bit about your mission, because it's so great that, this isn't all about profit. This is about making an impact on the world.
So we actually donate 1% of our top line revenue to our charity that we started called the I Love Cares Foundation. And through that charity, we do 2 to 3 mission trips per year where we go down to Jamaica in October, another Caribbean island in the summer, and then we also go to somewhere in Latin America in the spring. And what we do is we go down there, we set up a MASH clinic. There's usually about 40 people that volunteer to help us. And we just see about 2,000 to 3,000 patients, give them glasses, sunglasses, hats, and we give them a full eye exam and surgery if they need it. And so we want to create more sustainability down in the Caribbean. But right now we're just doing these MASH clinics right now.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being here, and thanks for what you guys do. It's so encouraging to see not only success in your business, but really realizing that you can make an impact on others. Yeah. All right, so let's get right into the meat of this. So what we're going to do is Travis is going to share his screen. So this is live. So as we're recording it, so when you see this, there might be some edits so that we can make it smoother. But what we're going to show you is he's going to go walk you step by step through this process so that you can do this yourself. So Travis, just take it away.
So Jason, you alluded to it a little bit before, but the 80-20 principle, the Pareto's principle or Pareto's law, or whatever you want to call it, is that 20% of what you're doing produces 80% of your results. And that's the same with Amazon keywords. So 20% of your keywords are producing 80% of your sales. And so what we're going to do is just show you a quick strategy. It's so simple that anybody can do it. You don't have to be a PPC expert to do this strategy, and it's going to accelerate your sales. I guarantee it, because I see it over and over and over again. And so what I want to do is just flip over to my screen, show you where to find that report inside Amazon. It's very simple to find. And then I'm going to show you how to organize it so you just know exactly what those 20% of keywords are. So let me share my screen real quick, and I'm sure you guys can see it.
1 second here. I've got your video. There we go. You can see it now. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So we're inside Seller Central here, and let me actually just kind of magnify things just a little bit more so you guys can see what I'm doing. So what I do inside Seller Central is I head over here to reports, and when you hover over reports, you can see advertising reports right here. Click on advertising reports, and then you're going to see this menu come up right here. And you can see we download these quite a bit. So we have quite a few of these downloaded. But what you want to do is come over here to create report. Once you create your report, we're going to do a sponsored products report, but you can also do a sponsored brands report. And then of course, Amazon's newest product, sponsored brands video report. The key thing here is Amazon's always going to come out with a lot of different advertising platforms. It's how they make money. This is going to go back to the basics and teach you something very simple. So we're going to do a search term report, a summary, and for the report period, I like to go back as far as I can. So usually it's going to be about 60 days, but it's not perfect. So I go back to December 21st, which is all the further I can go back. And then I'm going to leave. Amazon has a 7-day attribution window. I'm going to do about a 3-day though, because usually people don't buy after that 3 days, but they go back 7 days just to know that. So I want to leave these blank because I don't want to get the data from there because it's not fully populated yet. Does that make sense?
Yep, totally. Just clear that up for people. So when Amazon, when people purchase, it takes a couple of days sometimes for credit cards to settle, things to happen. So the window that Travis is talking about is just to make sure that the data you're looking at are true legit sales, because the last 3, 5, 7 days, there could be some sales missing that were actually made. So by what he's doing here, he's ensuring that his data has all real sale data.
Exactly. So that is well stated, and I don't need to add anything to that. So what you'll see here is we're at about 55 days. I don't know my calendars exactly, but that's probably approximate, which is great for me. And then you can name it. So you can name it with the date. I don't even think we name them, but you can always name them with the date that you're doing it. So February 2020, and then schedule time for now. You're going to click Run Report right up here in the top right corner. And then that's just going to run in the background. And so when that's running in the background, I'm not going to wait for it because I already downloaded one for this purpose. You can see it right here. It is actually ready, but I downloaded this one. So you're going to come back to the reports and advertising reports, and you're going to see that little download tab up here. All you have to do is click it, and it will download for you. So this is going to be a report with every single one of your products in it. I'm going to narrow it down so you don't have to see all the products. And I'm just going to show you one product to keep it a little cleaner for this video and training purposes. What I like to do, I like to work in Google Sheets versus Excel. And the main reason I do that is because I work with a lot of team members, and those team members organize these sheets for me, and we can go back and forth on the sheet. So once you open up a Google Sheet, let me increase this a little bit more too. You're going to come over here to File, and then you're going to hit Open, or excuse me, Import. You're going to hit Import. Once that pulls up, you're going to come over here to Upload, and then select a device from your computer. And I'm just going to come over here to my Downloads folder, and then we're just going to click to open that. So I just like to replace the spreadsheet, and it will populate our report. So the report can be a little messy when you first open it up, and this is where naming your campaigns is so key. So I like to name it with my product and my ASIN number. And then we just kind of go from there. You can see that I've already organized this, so it's just showing that product and that ASIN. You can see there's a lot of keywords that we're going after. But what I like to do with this report is separate it out into each tab. Each tab is going to be each individual product that you have, or each individual parent product that you have. I also like to delete the columns that I don't need. And so I'm going to delete these first 4 columns because I don't really need them for this, what I'm doing with it today. I keep the campaign name only because that's how we know what product it is. And then you're going to look right here at targeting. So targeting, this is one thing that we're going to look at. That is your keyword. So that's the keyword that you're bidding on inside Amazon. The second thing we're going to look at is customer search term. The difference between a keyword and a customer search term is that when a customer actually types in something, that is what a customer search term is. They're searching for that term inside of Amazon. A keyword, on the other hand, is on the back end of Amazon. That's what you're targeting as a result of this. So you can see that these are exact match, so they're going to be the same. But right here, I'm targeting the phrase match of polarized sunglasses for women. And so this came up with Carpia polarized sunglasses for women. And that's just because that phrase is in there. And then to go kind of full circle and look at a broad match one, let me see if I can find one. If you see a star right here, that just means it's an auto campaign. Let's see. I don't have a lot of broad ones.
I saw one up at the top, but there's a bunch of them. Perfect.
Yeah. And so a broad match means that they can be in any order, but they're still in the search term. So women's sunglasses is what we're bidding on. This one's anti-glare sunglasses for lifeguard women's. And so women's and sunglasses is still in there. They're just in any order. So that's the difference between the match types that you see there. Not super important for what we're doing here. But what I want to do is I want to organize this report just to make it more readable. And so what I like to do is just kind of impressions are how many times people have seen it, seen your ad. Clicks are how many times they've clicked it. Click-through rate is the percentage. It's clicks divided by impressions. Cost per click, I just like to shorten these down just to make it a little cleaner. Spend is obviously spend, sales. This is your ACOS. This is your ROAS. We actually don't need that one. ROAS is just your return on ad spend. For every dollar you put in, you get how many dollars back out. And this is your orders. That's going to be an important column here in just a little bit. The rest of the columns aren't really needed. You can use them still, but I just like to delete them. All right, so here's where it gets a little more fun. What I'm going to do next is I like to freeze the first row just so it's always showing, but I want to sort this data. I want to sort it from orders from highest to lowest. And so what I'm going to do there is highlight everything, go to data, sort range, data has header, and then we're just going to find orders. Once we find the orders, I sort it from Z to A because that's highest to lowest, so descending order. And then you're going to see it organizes into orders highest to lowest. And what you're going to notice here is that most of our sales are coming from pretty much these keywords right here. Now you can see it's not a ton of sales from those keywords, but it is more than all of these other keywords pretty much combined.
Yeah, and just for clarity's sake, this is only one of your many products in your brand that we're using as an example, correct?
Yes, this is one of our 40 SKUs. So it's not something that, this isn't one of our best sellers. This is just one of our ones that sells pretty consistently. We sell about 20 to 30 of these a day. Okay. For those that, there's different ways to run your Amazon business or your e-commerce business. There's the home run product that a lot of people hear about where they're selling 200 to 1,000 a day. There's also brands that you can create just by selling consistently 10 to 20 to 30 products per day and have a bunch of those. And so that's kind of the route that we went a little bit more. We do have a couple that sell that 50 to 150 to 200 per day, but most of our products are in that 10 to 20 sales per day area.
And I believe sunglasses is what you were the original product that you started with when you started on Amazon, correct?
Yeah. Sunglasses they're the things that we sold for the first 2 years. That was our first product sold, and we still have our heart in the sunglasses and have our business in sunglasses too. So
awesome. One thing I just wanted to point out, as you see that Travis, he only captures 3 or more orders. And I just want to add something on that. Now, the reason he's doing that is because when you're looking at this data, if you're just using 1 or 2 sales, the chances are there's going to be some error in there because oftentimes like it could just be a one-time fluke that someone used that keyword. There's just too many anomalies, but when you start looking at 3 or more sales, then it's a pretty proven keyword that multiple people are using and it's something you should pay attention to. Does that summarize that well for you, Travis?
100%. And so that's what I was just going to bring up. So you beat me to the punch, which is great. So I usually delete almost all of the ones that are under 3 sales. If you don't want to delete them and maybe look at that data later, I recommend putting a filter on it. And so you can highlight everything and go to data and again, just create a filter. You can see these little green things appeared. I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to get rid of all the ones that are not 3 or above. So once I hit OK, you can see we've narrowed down to just 4 search terms and then 1 ASIN. And I'm going to talk about what we can do with these here in just a little bit. Now, you should know your profit margin on your product. And what I recommend with Amazon PPC is that your target ACOS should be that profit margin. And it's also known as your break-even ACOS. And you can calculate that pretty simply by figuring out your profit margin. You just take your retail price minus your Amazon fees, minus your cost of goods, minus the shipping. Once you find that number, you divide that by your retail price again, and that's your profit margin. You can pretty much do a Google search to figure out profit margin, but that's the percentage that I use for my break even. So with this product, did that make sense?
That totally makes sense. Yep.
So with this product, my profit margin and my break-even ACOS is 67%. So that's pretty high on most people's book, but I know that I can spend up to that much money to put my PPC up to 67% and still break even, because it's going to drive more organic sales. We always hear about people going for 10 to 20% ACOS, but I almost feel like you're doing a disservice to your product, because by going after that low ACOS, you're leaving a ton of sales on the board. And for another video, you want to go after your total ACOS, your TACOS. And that's the key metric that you want to be measuring, not your ACOS. Your ACOS is just kind of there to monitor your advertising. But your total ACOS monitors everything. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but just know that that's something that you might want to look up later and really figure that out. So with that being said, I'm looking over here at my ACOS, and all of it is under. So it's all under my break-even ACOS. And so I want to try to scale these search terms. So what I want to do with all 5 of these or 4 of these, we'll talk about this ASIN right here in just a little bit. But what I want to do with these 4 is I want to create an exact match ad for that search term. And so you can see I've already started that with these 2. So you don't need to create another one because you've already got it going. But for this one, this is the same as this one. So again, going back to that 80-20 principle, you can see that this search term appears twice. Or excuse me, no, it doesn't. It's over here. So I'm going to do an exact match for Carphia polarized sunglasses for women, tortoiseshell sunglasses for women, polarized sunglasses for women, and then women's sunglasses polarized UV protection. And the reason you can scale these is because they have a lot of impressions. So those impressions tell you that these search terms get a lot of traffic. So I want to go after these as exact match campaigns. And essentially, if you take your budget away from all the ones that are making you 0 sales or no sales, just pause them. You don't need them. Pause them and then put all that budget towards this. You're going to increase sales because you're going to get towards the top of search. You can be more aggressive on this because your ACOS is lower. You're converting more sales. And I want to, with these being under your target ACOS, you can bid pretty high for them. But I do want to show your viewers an exact formula that you can figure out exactly what to bid on these. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So all the way over here, I'm going to create 3 new columns. I'm going to call them clicks to order, max CPA, and max CPC. So your clicks to order is pretty simple. It's just your clicks divided by your orders. And so how I calculate this is I take this little, I think it's called a cum laude sign. I don't know what it's called. I don't know Greek. But we take the sum of it and we take the clicks and we hit the divided by button on your keyboard, divided by your orders. Pretty simple. And then I hit enter. So again, I hit this button right here. I'll show you again down here. So this button, sum clicks divided by orders. And so you can see it goes out pretty far. We'll just make it go out to the second one. And then you can just kind of drag this down and it will drag the formula all the way down. Now your max CPA is what I just talked about with your profit margin.
So let me just clarify one thing so it's very clear. So what clicks to orders means is that on average for this period of time, it takes 11 clicks to get an order for that top one. So after 11 unique visitors, more or less, who have clicked on your listing, one person will buy. Is that 100%? Correct?
You got it.
Okay, cool.
So I wanted to show this on here just because it might be a little easier. So $29.97 is how much we sell these for. Amazon's referral fee is 15%. And so what I'm going to do is just show you with a calculator here. So $29.97 minus 15% is $25.47. and I hope I don't confuse people with this. The pick and pack fee is usually about $4.50. And then our cost of goods on this is about $4.50 as well. Let me actually show you that number in just a little bit different way, because I think it will make more sense. Wow, I didn't realize that would turn out exactly like that, but that was just ironic.
What's it? I thought I saw 495.
Did you?
Yeah. No, you're right. 450. Yep. I just saw the 95 there, so that's why.
Yeah, it's funny because it all worked out that way. So this is our figures. So what I want to do is figure out our profit, just like I explained earlier. So again, I'm going to use that sum button again. I'm going to go this one minus this, minus this, minus this. Hit enter. So 1647 is my profit for this. This is also known as my max cost per acquisition. And the reason that works so well is because you can spend up to $16.47 to obtain a customer and still break even. And remember, with ads, we're trying to drive organic sales. So that's why we don't mind breaking even on ads.
And that's a very important thing I just want to stress. So with Amazon, they reward you with velocity. So that means the more sales you get, the more it rewards you in other ways within internal organic rankings, them showing your ads in different places. So by knowing this number, what you're able to do, and also this number takes into account no marketing expense. So that's something important too. So what we're saying right now is selling on Amazon with no advertising expense whatsoever. Travis would get $16.47 out of his product. But what he wants to do now is use this calculation to understand how much he can spend on his ads to break even, because with Amazon, you don't get 100% of your sales on Amazon from sponsored ads. Nobody should be doing that's dangerous. You get as many as you can, but by him knowing this and by him being able to run ads as close to break even as possible, he's getting a lot of velocity, which is increasing sales all over the place because Amazon's rewarded. Now, I just want to have a little bit of disclaimer here. We do not recommend that you run every sponsored ad campaign to break even. That's not what we're saying at all. But what we're saying is, if you're just looking at ad costs alone, ACOS, you're playing a dangerous game, because you're going to be probably shedding off ads that could be profitable in other ways, and maybe running ads that are not nearly as profitable as they could be. So I just wanted to throw that in.
100%. So, for one of our best products, our break even is 57% ACOS. That product usually runs at about a 32% ACOS because we've optimized it so much. But with that gap, the difference between our break even, it's pure profit.
Yeah.
And what we can do with that profit is we can take it off the table and pay ourselves. We can hire an employee, or we can put it towards exploring more keywords. And so you can do so much with the profit, but knowing your break-even ACOS is just so key, so crucial. So back to this. So this maximum cost per acquisition, I'm going to put over here in column Q, and it's all the same because it's the same product. And this will be different for every product that you have. And now we're going to calculate the maximum cost per click. So the maximum cost per click is your max CPA, your max cost per acquisition, divided by your clicks per order. And let me just show you how to make this, and then I'll kind of explain and talk through it a little bit more. So again, we're going to hit this sum button. We're going to hit the max CPA divided by our clicks per order. And then I'm just going to drag that down so it's through all of them. Now here's where it gets a little fun. So I can now go in, create an ad for polarized sunglasses for women, exact match, and put my bid at $1.50 and be 100% confident on hitting my break-even ACOS, because it's just simple math. That's all it is. Because I know that I need 11 clicks to make a purchase due to my clicks to order. So I'm going to get 11 people to click on that ad to make that order. If I'm bidding $1.50 for that click, after I get 11, that's going to cost me $16.47. Does that make sense?
Yep, totally makes sense.
And so what that's going to do then is it's going to allow us to calculate the exact amount per click for every single one. And that's what we did here. And so you can use exact math to bid on all of these. and put that in with confidence.
So the cool thing with this too, so let's look at that line where you have the most right now, $12.35. So what this is telling you is, first of all, you're probably currently underbidding because you have it at a CPC at 74 cents. So knowing that you can now bump it up to $12, which of course you might not want to. You might want to just bud up a couple bucks, but you know you have a ton of room. And because of that, you're probably right now with your bid missing out on a ton of traffic potential for that keyword. So now by Travis knowing this, he can double, triple, quadruple that minimum cost per click that he's using right now at 74 cents and probably generate a heck of a lot more sales on a keyword that he sees right now is a proven converting keyword. So this is why it's so critical to know your math in two ways: to know your data that Amazon's giving you, but also to be real and honest with yourself about that data he showed you about breaking down your cost per product. Because if you know your numbers, and in my opinion, one of the biggest skills any business owner can learn is basic math, basic accounting, because that's all this is looking at data and figuring out, using that data, how to improve your results. And so this is excellent. So keep going. I just wanted to throw in that little blurb.
All right, so let's take it just a small step further. And like you said, this is very basic math. And, this is just simple calculations. It's division, it's multiplication. It's very simple to do. I want to just go over briefly this right here. So what should I do with this ASIN? And it's pretty simple, actually. You can target it with a product targeting ad. And so there's product targeting ads inside sponsored products. This ASIN gets a lot of impressions. So that means a lot of people are on that product page. So let's target that ASIN alone with a product targeting ad. And again, we can do up to $7. I recommend starting a little lower than that. But you know that you're getting clicks, 7 clicks from that ASIN alone, and it's resulted in 3 orders. So would I go up to $7 on a product targeting ad? Maybe not. But you can see it's only cost us 80 cents. So I'd maybe probably go after like maybe $2. Mm-hmm. But just know that you can go up to that high because it is working so well. The higher you go, obviously the closer you'll appear to the top of that product page. And the same goes true for your exact match campaigns as well. The more you bid, so this $12.35 is probably going to win that all day long. And so that's what these are. And that's pretty much like the 80-20 of sponsored products. Sponsored products doesn't have to be complicated. It can be if you want it to be. But if you just focus on the 20% of keywords that are driving 80% of your results, you'll win. And you'll save a lot of money and you'll make a lot more profit doing it.
Yeah, with sponsored ads, don't get us wrong. Sponsored ads is probably one of the more labor-intensive things you'll have with running your business inside of Amazon, because you're dealing with data and numbers and you're spending money. But it's one of the most important things for traffic within your business. And so many people overcomplicate it. And a lot of people, I've heard this over and over again, a lot of people are saying, oh, there's so many sponsored ads programs, like all these different advertising platforms in Amazon now, which one is the best? And the reality, in my opinion, is the original sponsored ads program, you still need to start with that. That's where like the majority of the traffic is going to come from. Until you kind of get a handle on that, don't start trying to get into all of these other things that Amazon has coming out. Follow rules like what Travis did, really figure out your keywords. And then the cool thing is, once you have those keywords, now you want to be careful about branded keywords, but once you know those certain keywords, then you're going to want to start optimizing your listing for those keywords as well. Because now you know, well, this is a high converting search term. Because one of the important things you need to understand is the best data you can get on Amazon is from paid search traffic. Because that's telling you right now what people are clicking on and how it's converting. You get that incredible data from Amazon. If you're trying to use some kind of keyword tool, you got to understand those are just tools that are giving you sort of a theory of what their algorithm is saying works. But by using sponsored ads, by using a spreadsheet example like Travis just showed you, you're figuring out exactly what keywords you want to be focusing on. So that's great. Any other closing remarks on this, Travis?
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head that, this isn't just used for sponsored products. You can put this in the title. The beginning of our title is polarized sunglasses for women, which was that keyword that drives most of the results. And, put it in your title, your bullets, your description, your back-end search terms. There's so much you can do with this data. And I loved that you said that, there's all these different sponsored products packages out there. There's brands and videos and product targeting ads. And what do I do with everything? Go back to the first thing. Sponsored products, this step right here can make you more money than focusing on all the other things that are out there combined.
100%.
And it's my opinion, and I'm kind of obsessed with it, but it works so well.
One thing I wanted to throw in here, just in case you wanted, obviously we told you that Travis has had a very successful business, but he also consults with other people. He does do some consulting on sponsored ads with other Amazon sellers. And that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to get him on this call, because when you have experts that not only are very successful in their own business, but have helped others be successful, you can trust the information he's sharing. So this isn't something he just made up on the whim. This is a proven principle that he implements not only in his own business, but on clients that he works with. So, take it to heart. Watch this over again. Make sure you implement it in your business. And again, Travis, thank you so much for taking time to do this interview with us. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks for having me on. This is great.